Hey, this is Todd. Happy whenever you end up watching or listening to this. I was doing the intro like I'm streaming this, but I am recording this one. Thought I would just record it just to be a little bit fast. I will probably go do some things in greater details with these, but I thought for the moment, just reveal it, just check them out, have some fun. I'm looking at the deck of stories cards that I received over the weekend. You can see here's all three of them. Oops, let me get this that way. So we have the Gears, Hell, and an NPC pack. Oops. So I thought I would just unwrap these and see what we have to see. So let's get to that. So here are our three packs: Gears, Hell, and the NPC pack number 1. Let's start with Gears. Give this a tear here. Like opening a new pack of baseball cards, which I'm guessing is a very dated reference. Most people with probably Magic or Pokemon or something else, but I'm old school. Baseball cards was for me. I never got into those other games. Too old, too late in life, however. Okay, so these follow the same pattern. If you need a refresher, I believe it's opening. I forget what this is. A reveal, basically kind of a twist, and then climax. They call it their orc system. Is it open, reveal? And so you'll see that each one of the cards can fulfill one of the three. This card here is an opening. This card here can be an opening, the kind of twist or reveal, and then either the climax. This one can be the opening or the climax. And so you'll see we have a bunch of cards here. The theme is Gears. So let's just take a look at a couple of these. This first one is a crowded street suddenly halts. Time seems to have frozen for everyone but you. So that's kind of the situation that's happened. The next steps are, I think, questions we can kind of ask ourselves just to give us a little bit of direction if we're finding that we need a little bit more or we want a little bit more. So in this case, the next steps: has the whole city stopped? Why aren't you affected? Well, these are good questions. Let's take a look at I'm not going to go through all of these. Let me just count them out. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So 18 cards in this pack. Let's just look at this one since it's right there. A forge stands in a forgotten dwarven tomb. It still glows with a strange light. And this can be in the opening. This can be that twist or turn. And then also could be the climax or conclusion. Next steps: what was this forge used for? And what powers it? All good questions. So let me just do... I'll shuffle out a couple and maybe we'll make a story out of these. Let's see if I can get 3 that... So what I did with the last one, if you haven't seen that video, you can check it out. And I will link to it in the show description on when I did some stuff on the story decks. You can basically deal yourself a couple of cards. In this case, we have 2 openers. So let me deal another card. That's also an opener. Try one more. There we go. We'll take that one out. I actually got lucky, I think, in the first video I did where all the cards fit magically. But in this case, we just had to deal a few. So we have this one that's for the opening. Then we have our twist or our turn. And then we have our conclusion / climax. So the opener would be this. You could think of this as your inciting incident, your kind of initial adventure hook, whatever is the first thing that's happening that's going to draw in. We're kind of creating an adventure arc out of all this or a particular adventure. Then this is kind of what starts it off. The party is hired to recapture a prisoner. He is the first escapee from a notorious prison. No one's done it before. No one's escaped from Azkaban. Okay, and then the next steps: how did he escape? Does he have a plan now that he has escaped? Those are some questions to ask about whoever it is, this villain, or it doesn't have to be a villain. Could be potentially someone wrongfully imprisoned. Who knows? So that would be the opener. Now we have this next spot, which would be that kind of twist, or I don't know if they call it reaction. I'm forgetting. I don't know if they put one of their. Hopefully, I don't think they put one of their cards that has their names in it. 'Cause the R one always escapes me a little bit. They didn't, but it's basically a twist. So this one is: a child claims his imaginary friend is responsible for strange attacks happening all over town. So we would look at these two and we say, okay, so they're chasing after this prisoner, this escaped prisoner, and we have this child. How would these work together? Is the prisoner the child? Is the prisoner related to the child? Is the imaginary friend of the child related to the prisoner? Or if we had to follow these next steps about the prisoner's plan, doesn't have something to do with the child. Is the child the reason the prisoner was put into the prison? Then for the next steps of this, we have, does she have proof? How did their relationship start? So these are obviously questions about kind of the background of this. So then we would try to work those two together, and then we would look at, well, what would be the kind of end point? We have the forge in the Forgotten Dwarven Tomb. Tons of ways, right? We don't know yet. Right, here's even the next step. What is the forge used for? We don't know yet, so that's something we can figure out. Maybe the forge is used to do something with this imaginary friend, presuming maybe it's not an actual imaginary friend, but could be some kind of spirit or ethereal monster of some kind. Is the prisoner trying to get to the forge? Does maybe the imaginary friend of the child have the key to get to the forge? And then why is the prisoner trying to get to the forge? Maybe we look at that and say, okay, what is the plan of the prisoner? What are they trying to do by getting to the forge? So they're trying to make that happen. So there you go. And you can keep messing around with this. I did some of these on the stream, and I actually did some while I was on vacation a little while back. You can look back at those in the community tab on YouTube. You can see where we went through and created some adventures from these. So that's basically the scoop. And I'm guessing that the theme of this pack is all about gears, that a lot of this stuff is going to have some kind of gear element. Does it say on the pack? I left my glasses in the country, so I'm sort of looking here. Doesn't say anything particular. Okay, next up, we've got Hell. And I think what I'm going to do with these, of course, if you happen to buy these, and I do have a discount code, my very own discount code, they were nice enough to set up. I think it's 10% off. It's Hexed Press. If you decide to purchase one or more of these on your own, I think what I will probably do is put these all in the one deck, shuffle them together. Of course, if I wanted to have something more targeted, I could pull the decks out. I think the one thing with these, I might ask them about this. I'm looking at these. I think the one thing that would be nice, though, it doesn't look like they do. I've seen this. It's a nice touch when you have a lot of expansions. If you've seen with board games. So, for example, I have Wingspan, and Wingspan, each of the expansions has a little code so you can see which cards belong to which expansion. That way you can, if you want to shuffle them all together, you can do that. And then if you needed for some reason, and I wouldn't want to go through separating out all those bird cards because there's about 1.5 billion of them, you can also do that too. So here it looks like they don't have any means. Everything's the same. So once you shuffle them in, oh, wait a minute. Oh, sorry. I was wrong. Oh, wait, is that, I forgot. I know they talked about some meaning to these symbols in the middle. Okay, it looks like we can check. You can tell I'm doing this live. Obviously, I'm just unboxing them and going. So I think maybe we could use this middle symbol to detect which set's coming from. So that's good. So we have a way of checking, okay, these are the Hell ones, these are the gear ones, or do I have that reversed? Let's see. Okay. No, I did have it reversed. So these, you can see here, well, it's hard to see. There we go. There we go. You can see gears. And then this one, Hell, which has got the, looks like some kind of almost a Masonic symbol. Yeah, I was about to not give them credit for something they've done. So I'm just gonna put together a story. Let me just give these a, I don't know why I'm shuffling them. I don't know if they come in any default order, but I'll just give it a shuffle anyway. Okay, we've got opener. There we go. See, this time it's working out. Now we have our twist. And then we have our finish. Whoops, let me move these down a little bit. Okay, so if I was going to go through, one thing I could do is I could start playing with these. I have these two that can, this one can, well, I only have one. Actually, it has to be in this order, right? Because we only have one climax. So the climax has to be here. This one can't be a twist. I mean, these are your cards. Do whatever you want with them. So if you wanted to swap them around different ways, but I'm just going to go with kind of how they are written. So actually, they have to go in this order, which is fine. So our opener is, a farmer asked the party for help. He believes his livestock are possessed. And then the next steps we have, is it true? What does someone gain by controlling livestock? All good questions to ask if you think you demons or devils have, or some other creatures have possessed your animals. Then the twist turn would be, two women stand over a decrepit well, chanting from a book. Light shoots out and tentacles emerge from its mouth. I think its mouth, meaning the mouth of the well. Did they intend to summon this thing? Can it be controlled? So as before, we would want to look at, okay, how does this relate to that? I think clearly I would say, which seems to be the obvious one, which may make it not the best one, but there's a well somewhere in the property. Some women are coming maybe late at night, so the farmer's not seeing them out doing this stuff. Tentacles coming out, light coming out. The animals are kind of wandering around, so they're getting possessed. I mean, it almost makes too much sense. We could go with that. The next steps on this card are about, I already read them. Did they intend to summon it? Can it be controlled? Questions we can answer. And then for the conclusion, a glowing ball brings people back to life. The life they remember is not the one they left behind. Maybe if they do this summoning thing, that this is the end result, what's going to happen, and we could talk about or think about, well, why are people coming back with different memories, and how do we figure that out? The next steps are, do they remember their own life but differently? Has some else's, that might be a typo. Has someone else's soul entered their body? Other good questions to ask. So we would put these together, and then we would come up with our adventure that we could use. And really, I think that the thing is with these cards is that I think it's a good way to use them for is when you're trying to come up with your adventure, sort of your adventure hooks, but kind of understanding where they are. But this gives you a way to sort of just kind of flesh one out a little bit, right? We can think about the different details. But you notice you can do this in just a couple of minutes. I mean, you can do this anywhere. So I was doing this on my trip. I just had the deck of cards in the box it came in, and I would just wake up in the morning, or I'd do in the afternoon. I'd just flip over a couple cards, and then I would write it down, and I posted the prompts. So you can easily just throw these out there, take a picture of it, like here, take screen cap. Then you're on the train, you're on the subway, or whatever you're doing, and you're at lunch, you're doing whatever, and you can just think about, how about this works? And then you can kind of lay this out a little bit. You throw it out there in your players, and if they bite, great, then you can keep going, fleshing it out. But if they don't, you haven't invested a ton of work, and you could even kind of look at these and think, well, if you're in kind of a sandboxy sort of thing, then this becomes something that's happening in the background. If the players intercede, then great. If not, then maybe they end up dealing with whatever happens after this. When this glowing ball does come up and start bringing people to life, but they have memories different from their own, what kind of chaos does that do? As people who look one way, the bodies of Uncle Pete, but then he's trying to go live somebody else's life or complete some other work that has nothing to do with his family. Who knows what kind of mischief might come out of that? So those are the kind of things. I'm going to count these out again, but I'm guessing it's going to be 18 again. And some of these cards, they're new, fresh out of the box, so maybe they sticking a little bit. So let's see if I get the same number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. All right, so that's good. And then the last one, deck of stories, NPC pack number 1. I'm curious if these are going to be the same, or is it going to be a little bit different in terms of the content. Since this is an NPC pack, we shall see. I just got to drop the box. We shall see here. Get it open. Oh, terrible. There we go. These are a little bit different. Here we're getting a number of NPCs. We could probably shuffle these. Oh, look at that. And there got pictures on the outside. So I'll shuffle these up and pull a couple and we'll see. So we got 3. I like that they have the image you can use either just for descriptive purposes or to show to your players. Oops, let me move. So we got Silgray Silvertooth, the half-orc. We got a personality, we got a quirk, we got a flaw, we got a goal, and we get a secret. Those are really, actually, I like that a lot. So this is Silgray Silvertooth, the half-orc. Smart, independent, Silgray. Oh, it looks like they spelled the name differently in 2 spots. Silgray has spent most of her life dealing with men who think they know better than her. Quirk. Whenever Silgray is deep in thought, she whistles a little tune. Flaw. Silgray loves to gamble and often loses. Her goal is she wants to hit a big one day and retire to an island. Does that mean, through gambling or through adventure? Maybe through gambling, since she has a gambling problem. And then her secret is her gambling addiction is her coping mechanism for the death of her younger brother. Oh, that's sad. And then again, here we have the image. Sorry about the glare on the card there. There's Silgray. All right. Now next, let's move him or her to the side. Here we got that over. Alicia Califan, half-elf. Alicia is a serious person who shrugs away most signs of emotion. She is more likely to knock you on your back than to indulge your attempts at humor. She is keen as a hawk. Very few people are able to pull one over on her. Her flaw is she's loyal to the end. This will lead her to follow through on actions she knows are wrong. Her goal is she dreams of serving as a royal guard, and her secret is she has a sister that she despises. So I really like the layout in terms of what they're giving you: personality, skill, flaw, goal, secret. Notice there are no stats here, which you might look at as good or bad. I look at it as good because I can use these in any system I want. Doesn't even have to be a fantasy system. I could easily just turn a couple things around, and these could be, space people if I wanted to, or some other type. This is Arthax Delmuroth, a dragonfolk, one of the dragonfolk. Arthax is young and impatient. He is the type of person who would ignore you if you asked for help or called his name. Ouch. His quirk is he likes to scratch up tables and furniture with a small dagger. That's not very cool. Flaw is he's not praised for his moral character. Some have described him as sneaky and untrustworthy. Good to know. And his goal is he craves power. He doesn't know how to acquire it just yet, but he has no doubt he will let nothing and no one get in his way once he sets a plan in motion. And his secret is he feels lonely at times and wishes he knew more people who cared about him. So those are those three, and I'm going to count these out again. Okay, so we have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. If it's a situation where you just need a physical description, you can use the picture. The party decides to get closer or interact with them, then suddenly you can flip it over and you got some good stuff to work with. Flaws, quirks, secret, goals, personalities. I feel like that's everything you kind of need to get started, right? So that is all of them. We've got we got some NPCs. We got some gear-based adventure prompts, and we have some hell-based adventure prompts. So those are the decks of stories. I really like this series, and I think adding the NPCs in the mix is great because it fills in one of the gaps, because a lot of this stuff is it's very much built to just draw cards and go, and then you have to think about in the prompts a lot of it, like the he, the she, the child, the person. And now if you are really in need of some extra inspiration, or you need to just have some people straight up front, you could shuffle up that NPC pack and deal one out. It says NPC pack number 1. I have no idea if there are multiple packs. I presume they're going to make more. I'll have links to these in the show notes, so you can check them out on the 1985 game site. And thank you very much. They sent them to me. Just make sure if you're gonna go and get them on the site, remember that Hex Press code so you can get yourself a little discount on them if you like them. I will integrate both of the gears and the hell packs into my deck, and I do plan to do some more stuff with doing more prompts, and maybe even taking the prompts and not just fleshing out just an idea, but maybe taking that idea even further. We shall see. But I love these kinds of tools. The one thing is, whether this means something to you or not, but they do not have these in digital form as far as I know, and I don't think they intend to. So if you want to use these, either buy them, print them, make your own PDFs if you need to have them online, or like I do, just keep the deck together, grab it with you when you're going, or keep it at your desk. All you gotta do is shuffle, draw some cards, and you are on your way. That's all I got for now. Have a great rest of your day, night, whenever you end up watching or listening to this. Game on. Talk to you later, everybody.